If you are joining live or if you are joining later and you're watching this video about Island 2025, we will get started here. It's just 6 o'clock on January 28th. Another one of our tour info sessions that we started doing with Greece a while back, and just thought it would be a good idea to have a walkthrough of these bigger tours so you kind of get a better understanding of what's involved, be able to ask questions, and then in some cases we get to have some guests like we do tonight. So we'll have some experts on talking about the trip and what you can expect. So we are both on Facebook Live and on Zoom. So either way, you can participate. If you have questions, hey Gene, please ask us in the chat on either Facebook Live or Zoom, and we will get to them. So we are going to get started because we got a lot to cover. Most of you know me. I'm JJ Bell. I co-own Excite Experiences. This is our 11th year here in business. We are office out of Bellevue, Nebraska. Cindy Steffensmeyer is my business partner. She's also my aunt. And we started this craziness about 12 and a half years ago. And we have Derek on. I'll let him introduce himself in a second. But we had a long history with Derek here, actually, and this is like a full circle moment because the first overseas tour we did was with Derek to Ireland 8 years ago, 8 years ago. So it was a while ago.
Yeah.
So without further ado, I'm gonna have Derek introduce himself. He will be the guide for Ireland. So when you go to Ireland with us, you're gonna have Derek as your guide. So Derek, go ahead.
Hi, JJ. Thank you. Yes, welcome everyone that's joining us. My name is Derek Peterson. I'm currently the hospitality manager at the Institute for Culinary Arts at Metropolitan Community College. I've been working here for 13 years now and met JJ in 2017. And I think that was actually your first international trip that you planned, wasn't it? Yeah. He helped my boss, Dean Brian O'Malley, and myself plan our first community education international trip. Actually, I think it was our first trip for community education, and it was to Ireland. And so, as you can imagine, Brian O'Malley is definitely Irish. So he wanted to kind of explore his home country. And we launched an amazing food-focused tour of Ireland and definitely learned a lot. And then from that point on, I actually started working with JJ, mainly doing about one trip a year there for a while until about COVID hit. But the next year, helped him build and lead a trip to northern Italy. Then after that was, I believe, Spain. We
Yeah.
did a Christmas market tour that started in Amsterdam and ended in Zurich, hitting breweries and distilleries and wineries and, eating our way through Europe as we visited those Christmas markets. Helped him launch his first Greece trip, which I believe this is the third year now that you're going. Is that
Yep.
correct?
Yep.
So definitely have had a wonderful opportunity to travel, bring a culinary focused aspect to a lot of his trips internationally. And so last year, we decided to kind of revisit Ireland last October and, led a group. There were 25 of us total that went. We started in Limerick and ended in Dublin, and there was such a demand for that trip that one of the stops is Delphi Lodge, and it is this amazing, picturesque, uh, historic hunting and fishing lodge in Connemara, which is kind of the northwest portion of the country, and they only have 13 rooms, so our trips are very limited to 13 couples or friends or whoever wants to share a room. There's 13 rooms, so that's basically what we're limited to. And so there were 25 of us last year. We're looking at about 26 people again this year that go total. And again, we're just kind of revisiting some of those places. Hopefully those people that couldn't make it last year are able to join this year. And I believe the plan is to continue Ireland every year, revisiting Delphi, but making that first and last stop different so that we can kind of explore the full country and everything that they have to offer. But there's a lot of culinary, um, you know, There's a big culinary gift that they can give to us. You might
Very
not think
cool.
about Irish food being, the culinary destination, but there certainly is. I mean, they're taking huge pride and steps in sustainability. A lot of seafood, a lot of lamb, a lot of beef,
Mhm.
amazingly fresh, delicious vegetables, lots to offer. So looking forward to doing it again this year.
Cool. Yeah, and so that's a kind of good segue. We our overseas tours. We were thinking, everybody offers overseas trips, and that's great. Different varieties, different lengths, different prices, and we've always had a little food and wine flair to ours. Some trips are more than others. It just kind of depends on the itinerary and the country, and so it's a great way to experience the culture. Whether you're a big foodie or not, or you're a drink like a wine drinker or a spirits drinker or not a drinker at all. I mean, it's still a great experience because through the distillery tour, you learn so much about their culture and their history and why that's so important to the people in the region that it's totally worth the visit. So if everybody's welcome to go, and that's one of the really cool things that I think is so great about our trips here at Excite that overseas is they're a pretty dynamic group. You can have anybody from 35 on up to go on the trips. And it's always been such a blast of people that go and experience these trips. So, um, Ireland is all of our overseas trips. Again, you can find them online. You certainly give us a call about questions. Hopefully, we answer them a lot today. We're going to go through the itinerary. Derek's going to walk you through just some highlights of each day and how that all works. And then afterwards, we'll talk about how you can book it. And I'll show you where online you can go book the tour, or the order form if you'd rather mail it in. And of course, we will have time to talk about your questions and everything. So, the first part, really, I'll lead off and just say that this is a fly-in tour, and at Excite, we book our airfare. You can book your own airfare, or you can have us do it. And Derek's going to take a lead on airfare for this trip. And so, what you would do is basically, if you decide to go, you'd put it down your deposit, and then we will reach out to you and say, "Hey, we're so glad you're coming. Here is the flight schedule that we are basically on." And here's the current price. And then, we'll book that for you. So we book them at the market rate, whatever they are at the time. And that way you can take advantage of earning the points yourself. So if you have whatever airline you're on, we've flown a lot of United, but whatever it is, you can put your own rewards points number in. If you have like a voucher, a lot of times we can use those vouchers to, if you had them from other trips that you didn't go on or something, we can work with all of those. Um, and then, we will send you all the confirmations right away so that you can load them in your app and kind of keep track of them. And if you're going to upgrade seats, we can certainly help you with all of that, or you can do it on your own. But it's really easy, just one thing off of your plate that you don't have to do. So, yeah, and then once we get going here, then you obviously fly, and Derek's going to be flying from Omaha. So if you're flying from Omaha, most likely you will meet him or somebody from Excite at the airport. If you're flying from Kansas City or Minneapolis or Denver or somewhere else, anywhere in the country, we will coordinate with you on how to meet the group when they arrive in Ireland. So, having said that, overnight flights into Ireland, and then Derek will take it away.
Yeah. So just a little bit about flights. United does offer a flight from Newark direct into Shannon. So that's the overnight flight. So generally that's the airline that we would try and fly on. Um, from Omaha or Kansas City, um, or Fargo. I know there's some people from North Dakota that are going to be joining us. So you would fly into Chicago, connect, fly into Newark, and then connect and then fly right into Shannon. So you'd leave on October 3rd. We'd arrive on October 4th the next morning. Denver, you could probably fly right from Denver to Newark, and then into Shannon. But United would, offer you the best opportunity, I think. Um, American, right? I mean, maybe you want to extend your trip, JJ or
Yep.
myself. We're happy to help you maybe spend a few extra days before, maybe after, maybe in London, right? American has a nice flight going to London, spend some nights, and then meet us in Shannon on the 4th. So we're happy to work with you on that as well. So, but yeah, once we arrive on the 4th, our plan is to go directly to Cliffs of Moher. So that is in the Burn region. It's a little bit, it's about an hour north of Limerick, Shannon area. We'll go visit the Cliffs of Moher and then check into our hotel, which is the George in Limerick, and trying to set up a really nice special dinner for the first night. Some more details to come on that. But then we, kind of get to bed. I know jet lag is going to be an issue. If you fly on the flight from Newark, we get in about 10:30 a.m. And the hardest part that first day is just staying awake until a decent bedtime hour because you don't want to go to sleep. Maybe a little nap on the bus is okay, but definitely don't want to go to sleep. So you want to try and go to bed local time,
Mhm.
nighttime, bedtime hour of Limerick if you can. We'll wake up the next morning and then we're going to head up to Galway, spend some time there, do a walking tour of Galway, see the sights, see what they have to offer for the culinary scene. But right on the Atlantic Ocean, beautiful place, lots of shopping, lots of restaurants, lots of opportunity to just kind of see a nice seaside town of Ireland.
We always have
Um,
requests to spend more time there. Every time we go there, we wish we had more
yeah,
time in Galway. So we made the change based on our guests and Derek's feedback, and we're gonna actually be able to spend some time there and enjoy it.
absolutely. So then we'll head back to Limerick. So we're spending 3 nights in Limerick, 3 nights in Delphi, and then 3 nights in Dublin. So that's kind of another key feedback is they don't like going, our guests don't like going day to day to day to new hotels. So we try and stay put and make a center base for a few days and then move to the next place. So 3 nights in Limerick. So then the next day we'll head down to Cork and we'll do a walking food tour, go to the English market. This will be Monday. So go to the English market. It's a huge market with lots of stalls. We'll taste some food. We'll see some cheese, oysters, seafood, other things like that. And then we'll head to Middleton Distillery. And this is the distillery that makes Jameson. It makes Redbreast. It makes Powers. It makes Napogue Castle. It makes the Spots and Method and Madness. So quite a few brands that they distill there. So we'll learn about, the typical single copper pot stills, taste some single malt Irish whiskey, and I've got some good, uh, you know, higher aged specialties lined up for us to taste in a private tasting room there. So learn all about the history of Middleton, and then we'll head back up to Limerick and get some dinners, spend the night, and then we'll wake up and then we'll head up to Connemara. To Delphi. On the way, though, we're going to stop at a seaweed farm, and they also farm abalone. They do seaweed. So we'll get some, nice little seaside farm experience there. And then we'll go to Kylemore Abbey, and then go into Delphi. And Delphi, like I said, is just amazing. I mean, once you just kind of roll up, you see the sights, you see this misty kind of mountain behind. Let's see, can I
Yeah.
share my screen here?
I
Because
was gonna say, yeah, share your screen. I was gonna say I'll pull a picture of it.
yeah,
It's amazing.
yeah. Let me pull this picture up for everybody.
Thanks for watching, Barb. Great comments. She said, fantastic trip. Love the hotel arrangements, not changing every night. Yeah, that's great. Okay, and allow. Okay, and there's gonna share a picture of this place. It's just amazing.
All right.
Yep, there it is.
So like I said, this is a historic hunting and fishing lodge. Unfortunately, we'll be there just outside of fishing season. But stay tuned for our 2026 trip to Ireland because we're going to be heading there kind of in the summertime. We'll be able to do some fly fishing if you wish, and kind of see what that looks like during the fishing season. But I mean, inside, it kind of reminds me a little bit of kind of a Downton Abbey-esque feel. You have this huge grand ballroom. Um, it sat. I would say it probably seats 30 people. So we were about 25. So I think we had just about every chair full last year. And I helped custom make the menu. So I'll definitely be reaching out for dietary restrictions because, in 2025, everybody kind of has uh, their needs, whether it's vegetarian, whether it's no seafood, whether it's gluten free. There's working in hospitality at the culinary school. I see it every day. So I definitely want to respect that. So I'll reach out, get your dietary restrictions. I work with the chefs at the lodge, and we come up with 3 nights of just amazing food. Um, and then we'll have some live Irish music after dinner the first night. And then,
So
it's whether you want to sit by the fire in the library, whether you want to sit with people and talk in the community room. They have a billiards room. You can go play some pool, right? Or
yep.
go to bed and get some rest for the next day.
We have the whole place to ourselves, so there's nobody else
Yes.
will be there. Just be
Yeah.
us group.
And some people ask, well, what's the attire like?
Yeah.
You can wear, if you want to wear a three piece suit, if you want to bring your tux, certainly by all means dress as well as you want, but you can wear pajamas if you want as well. I mean, we have the place to ourselves. It's just our group, and by this time we're pretty close to each other. We've gotten to know everybody.
Mhm.
So certainly wear whatever you are comfortable in. So then the next day we go visit a oyster farm, and yeah, it's so cool. This guy, he was retired. His name's David. He was retired, and he's like, "Well, what do I want to do in retirement?" And so he bought this failing oyster farm. Had no clue what he was doing, but he has developed, nets that withstand the waters of the Atlantic, and they last longer. And all the other fishermen around him are like, no, there's no way. And it's working. Like he's doing a great job. And so we'll get to taste some probably the freshest oysters you will ever have. I'm not an oyster fan, I'll admit it, but you have to try everything, right? So I tried one and was blown away. Like I actually liked it. So
Cool.
we'll get a tour. We'll learn about his history. We'll learn about what he's done to, sustainably raise these oysters, and then we get to taste some oysters. And so then from there, we're going to go to a smokehouse also in Connemara. And this is a new place. We haven't been there before, so we'll see what that's all about. But
Mhm.
it's highly recommended from David. And so, I'm sure he won't steer us wrong. Then we'll head back to Delphi. Evening is your own. Again, we have dinner included, but what you want to do before dinner, or after dinner, that's up to you. Get some rest. Next day is actually a day for you to enjoy the lodge because we can't stay at Delphi Lodge without actually enjoying it. So we have a free day. There will be a tour of the grounds. We get to go see the fish hatchery, if you wish. You can sit by the fire and read a book all day. There aren't TVs, so right, you can stream something on your phone if you really want to, but I mean, this is the time to just say, you know what, I'm putting the technology away because it's just so amazing.
Mhm.
Maybe keep a camera close by, but that's about it.
Okay, so Derek, so if you're
And
there at the
then,
lodge with and because it's out there a little ways, what do people
mhm.
do? What do you do for food? Like how does that work at the lodge? Like
Yeah,
lunches
so
or
they
dinners?
have a full kitchen there. So every morning, like all the food is available. So they have um breakfast. You wake up, breakfast is, during a certain time, just like a hotel would be. But you order from a menu, you can have coffee, you can have buffet. I mean, breakfast is included. Breakfast is included at all the places that we stay, but this breakfast is top notch. We'll have lunch the day that we go out to the oyster farm. That will be included at a probably another historic hotel with a full seafood buffet. For those that don't love seafood, that's okay. Last time they offered a meat platter instead. So, but the seafood there is amazing. So if you like seafood or even just can tolerate seafood,
Yeah.
definitely try the seafood. But then the day that we're at Delphi for, the free day, they have lunch available if you want to order it. You can have as whatever you want. I mean, you can order a light lunch, you can order a larger lunch, right? That's kind of your choice. You just order from the menu and then, they'll just charge you at the end of your stay. They have kind of an open bar system as well. Open meaning you can pour your own drinks, make your own cocktails, whatever, and then you just write down in a book what you take. So it's really cool. They also have the locked whiskey cage, which has those higher end whiskeys. And if there's something in there that really kind of interests you, right, you can get something there. But also, right, a lot of us bought bottles at the Middleton Distillery
Right.
and then brought those with us, and then we shared those throughout the 3 nights that we were there at Delphi. So that's another, I think more economic option
Hmm.
as well. A little
Sure.
bit cheaper to buy a bottle than to buy shots, as I'm sure we all know from our bar experiences. So anyway, so then that free day in the afternoon, we will have the opportunity to visit with Sean, who is one of two sons from the owner of Ackle Island Distillery. And so he's going to come out with some of the different spirits that they distill, whiskey, gin, vodka, those types of things, talk through the distillery that he and his brother now own. It's family owned
Cool.
distillery. I think it might be one of the last Irish family owned distilleries in Ireland, to be honest. So he's going to come down with some, samples that we can taste. He'll talk through the product and the history of his distillery, and we can, it's going to be included, so everybody can sit down and do that. And yeah, then we'll have dinner again. Unfortunately, that'll be our last night, but we'll get some rest and then wake up the next morning and head to Dublin. And right now, we're setting up a walking history tour from a tour guide that I met last year.
Mhm.
She was amazing, and so take us on a little walking tour of Dublin.
What are some
Um,
highlights that people typically want to see that you will see on the walking tour?
yeah, so Trinity College is probably the biggest one,
Mhm.
right? There's like kind of that old town district that has a lot of those old bars, shops,
Yep.
those types of things. Um,
Great.
there's an old bank that you can get access to for free. So she'll probably take us in there. But yeah, I mean, we'll see kind of where else the little hidden gems that a Dubliner knows
Yeah.
about.
Awesome.
And so then we do a bus tour the next day, I believe with her as well.
Yep.
And we'll go down to Kilkenny, which is an amazing little town, actually the home of Smithwick's beer. So we'll see, maybe we'll do a little tour there, or maybe just, stop somewhere or have some free time. We can have a pint of Smithwick's right from the hometown of it.
Awesome.
Um, there's an amazing church with this tower that you can actually walk into. It's a little
Cool.
scary. I didn't do it last time, but if you're brave, maybe young and brave, you can certainly try that. And then we'll go to Glendalough, which is a ancient monastic community. And so they've got a lot of graves. They have a lot of ancient ruins. And so we'll learn about the history of that space. There's a hiking trail that can take you to a couple of different lakes, and then probably do a sheep farm on that day as well. Kind of, yeah. So still final ironing out those final details on that day, but should be amazing.
Yep.
And then our final night, so then you'll have some free time the next morning in Dublin, which a lot of people wanted, get that last minute shopping in.
Hmm.
And then in the afternoon, we will go to Hoth Castle and we'll actually do a cooking class for our own dinner. So we'll make our own dinners, we'll sit down, have dinner, probably a beer or wine,
Yep.
right? And then just kind of reminisce on our trip. And then we wake up the next morning, uh, pack up. We don't leave too early. We leave about 11:30, I think, is what the current flight schedule is showing on United. So we'll leave at 11:30 a.m. and head to the airport. Flight leaves at 11:30, so we'll head there probably about 8:30 or 9. But get to the airport, check in. And Dublin is actually one of the few airports where we actually clear U.S. customs at the airport. So helps a little bit. I mean, I say because of the whiskey that you'll probably want to bring back. You don't have to worry about TSA, checking it and opening the bag and all this other stuff. I mean, you basically land in Chicago, and you're already on the secure side. You don't have to go through customs. You don't have to recheck bags. You don't have to do anything. You just get off your plane. We'll go to the next gate, wait for it, and then head home.
Great.
So.
That's awesome. So the trip in a nutshell, you can, obviously, if you want to read more into it or you have more questions, like I said, we'll go over contact information. The brochure is online. We are making a few slight modifications based on feedback from last year, but the vast majority of it is exactly what you want to see. Everything we talked about tonight, we're going to see on the trip. If you have other things, we can reach out. So you're like, okay, now what? Now, this sounds amazing. I want to book it. So I'm going to share my screen here and pull up the different ways that you can do this. So you can go onto our website, excitemytravel.com, which is this right here. And you can view the entire itinerary and what's included. If you hit this little read more button, it drops down. You can see all of this. Okay. And talks about the pricing, which we'll go over hotels, where we're staying, and then airfare and how that works. We'll talk about that. And then if you are interested in booking online, you can hit book now, double or single. If you're interested in triple, we probably should talk because the rooms really aren't set up that way in Ireland. So I would highly recommend not doing a triple room. Just stick to double or single.
Yeah,
Um,
I will say though, when we went in 2017, we did have a triple and worked out fine. I mean, Delphi, the rooms in Delphi are quite big,
okay.
and so they can move beds around as needed, and they can make a triple room at Delphi. I'm pretty sure. Well, yes, I know that the George can do triple rooms because they have rooms with a single bed and a double bed. So as long
Okay.
as two people are okay sleeping in the same bed, that won't be a problem.
Okay.
And then we're staying at the Hyatt in Dublin, and I don't know for sure about them, but I'm sure they're gonna be a little bit larger rooms than your typical European hotel. So
Okay.
I will definitely check if someone is interested in a triple. I can look into that for you.
Awesome. Okay, so you can book online and it's going to ask you for some information about yourself. And then we also have some different excursions that you can add on, which we'll talk about. And then otherwise, you can just click this Ireland 2025 brochure, and it's the full brochure that you can. This is Delphi Lodge, by the way. And then you can read all about it. And then at the bottom, again, it goes over the details, and then the order form is here. And it talks about the deposit, which is $750 per person, sort of when things are going to be due. If you'd like us to book airfare, usually people call us, but if you don't, if you just want to sign up, just let us know if you're going to book it yourself, or if you want us to book it, and we'll reach out to you. If you're booking it yourself, that's fine, but just send us the itinerary so we know, when to expect you and either point you in the direction of how to get to the hotel or whatever transportation things you need. We want to be able to manage that for you. And then you can send a check-in or write your credit card information here and send this form in. Online, you can also pay with ACH. So that's your account routing number if you want to do that. So the price is $37.45 per person, double occupancy. It's 11 days, 17 meals. The triple occupancy is 4,500, or excuse me, the single occupancy is 4,500. And that kind of trips some people up sometimes, but that's because you get your own room, which is great. But there's nobody to split the room costs with, and that's why double occupancy is consistently cheaper. Um, so those are the prices. Airfare, we book at market rate. So, when you call and you put your deposit down, when we're ready to book airfare, Derek will reach out to you, and then he'll go over what the airfare is at the time. In my experience, it's cheaper than we used to book it with a group. Um, but it just depends on when you book it. You never know. So we will take care of that for you. And then once we get done, once we have booked everything, you won't hear from us for a while because we don't want to be bugging everybody. But we will have a pre-tour party. So for everybody that has signed up officially, about a month before, we will send everybody the details. We will meet up and we will have some usually an Irish themed dinner, or at least an opportunity to get to know everybody and meet and come and ask questions. If you're coming from out of town, again, you are more than welcome to join, or we try to film it either via Zoom or Facebook, so you can watch it later or be present virtually. And then we would send out the final invoices, and the final balance will be due at that point, as well as the tour information packet, which has your luggage tags, also more information about the hotels, other information about the trip in general, things you should know, things like don't forget your passport, flight times you'll already have had, but we'll confirm them with you again. And then the week of your tour, our office will call every single person and go over the final details, right? Like, okay, so we have you here getting on at this point at the airport. These are the times. This is where you're going to meet the Excite guests or Derek at the airport. And that's how the first day works. Just so that if you have any last minute questions or you're thinking through the first day, you know exactly what's going to happen and you feel really confident and you can just relax and have a good time. And then you're off on the trip. The price includes guide service, admissions that were listed in the itinerary, private motor coach transfers, meals and activities that are also listed in the itinerary, and your hotel accommodations. Just flights are extra. And then the last two things here I'll mention, and I'll turn over to Derek, is these overseas tours, they do require walking on uneven terrain. You don't have to do any of the activities. You can stay on, you can kind of just stay where we start, or you can, if there's an activity that you want to walk around, or stay at the hotel if that's feasible, if we're not moving on from it. We will accommodate you, of course, in your ability, but I would say if you're not, like very active or uneven terrain is hard for you, we definitely at least need to know, and so we can talk you through it and see what it's about. And Derek is a great. If you have specific questions about specific areas, he's been to all of them, so he can tell you what it's like.
Yeah,
And then go ahead.
oh, I was going to say, yes, I'm happy to answer all your questions. Feel free to email me. It's Derek, Derek, at excitemytravel.com. And, like these trips, I really, uh, I take kind of under my arm or whatever you want to say, right? But I really kind of get into these and I build them to make something that I want to go on. And so it's I don't know, I take a lot of pride in these trips, and so feel free to email me. I'm happy to help you with your airfare. I'm happy to help you with recommendations. I'm happy to um, you know a- answer anything, make sure everything is set up correctly, properly. So please email me with any questions or comments. Actually, I just saw on Facebook, Jolene is texting on the Facebook face or the Facebook Live. So hi, Jolene. Yeah, she went last year, and um, you know, looks like she's interested in next year. So that's great. Anyway, so yeah, feel free to email me with anything. There's something I was going to say. Sorry, I forgot.
It's okay. Well, while you're thinking about it, so we do offer travel insurance if you are interested in that. We use TravelX. You're more than welcome to use any vendor that you have used in the past, um, but it is available for you. The information to book is right there. You can also give them a call. They have three different pricing plans, and honestly, there's a lot of like variables that determine what the price of it is. So it's best to just get on there and do the quote or give them a call. It's quicker and easy, and it can be a good investment if you're concerned about like something going on in your family where you might have to cancel, or like a sickness, or just trip insurance in general. It's a good peace of mind. It's there. It's very comparable to every other cost. I didn't see anything out there that was a lot cheaper, that had the same offerings, or that was more expensive. So they have a wide range of products that fit. And then lastly is refunds. So what happens if you put your deposit down and you can't go? We try to do the best thing we can do for our guests. So deposits are non-refundable 60 days prior to departure because we were basically already paying everything. Um, so if you are concerned about that, getting a cashback refund, get the travel insurance. Otherwise, we will issue you a tour credit for the amount that you have paid. So we even take on some of that loss if something comes up last minute that you can't go. Now and we give you a tour credit towards another trip. So if you can't go this year, you could go on the same, the Ireland trip next year or any tour that we have in the future if something comes up last minute. But if you want cash back after that 60 days, you need to have the travel insurance. And then flights are refundable to the airfare credit. So if you have to cancel the flight without insurance, again, you would get the tour credit because we book them in your name. So you really wouldn't be out any money per se. You just have this credit in these different places if you canceled without insurance. But again, we do offer insurance to cover that if those things come up.
I do remember on the walking part.
Yeah.
So yes, Europe is definitely a walking uh, continent. Ireland is not the worst at the amount of walking of the countries I've visited, but there is certainly some walking. Cliffs of Moher, they have a little golf cart almost type thing that will take you up to the edge of the cliffs. I mean, there's a barrier, so don't feel like you're going to fall off unless you actually try to. So don't need to worry about that. But there is a little golf cart that will take you up there. So you don't need to worry about that walking there. Um, the walking tours, obviously, yes, there's going to be some walking there, but I've noticed a lot of them are you walk short distances to your next stop, and then there's usually plenty of seating, and we're a group, so we wait
Yep.
for you. So if you are just a slow walker, totally fine, right? We will wait for you, and there's no hard feelings. Um, Delphi is very much a relaxing place, not much walking. Even the day trip that we do out to the oyster farm and those places, right? There's some standing around, but if you need a seat, right, I will make sure that I reach out to those places and ask for some type of accommodation where they can have a seat ready for you and you can sit in that if that's what's needed.
Awesome.
So yeah, again, feel free to just reach out to me, right? And let me know dietary restrictions, concerns, mobility issues, anything like that, let me know and we will take care of you.
Cool. Okay, so Derek, some frequently asked questions. So tell us what the weather's like at this time of year.
Yeah, it's anywhere from cold to mild, and it's anywhere from dry to wet. It is Ireland.
Yep.
You've probably seen movies, and it's very much like that. Jolene said, take a raincoat. Absolutely. Um, Maybe even an umbrella if you can find a small packable umbrella, but it needs to be wind resistant because it gets windy there, and a lot of umbrellas, right, go and go inside out. So you don't bring a cheap umbrella if you're going to bring one. If you can withstand a downpour, I mean, our walking food tour in Cork, we did it in a full downpour. And other than a little bit of a mist, that was the only rain that I think we had.
Awesome.
So, right, some of us had umbrellas. They had umbrellas that you could rent at the hotel that we kind of met at, and then went from there. So, you know, if you want to bring one, if you've got room, pack a sturdy umbrella that's wind resistant. Otherwise, bring a raincoat, and I think you should be fine.
Great. How much?
Layering,
Oh, go ahead. Yeah,
layering
you're,
is
yeah,
important.
very important.
Wool, polyester, I think are the best at traveling because they're kind of naturally antimicrobial. You can wear them multiple times without them kind of getting smelly or dirty. Um, you can bring little thing of Dawn dish soap or bring some powdered laundry detergent and wash maybe socks and underwear or maybe some t-shirts or undershirts, whatever you need to. But then just bring some sweaters, some pants, and um, some other maybe lighter long sleeve shirts, right? Just layer. And then we've got I would say light to medium coat would be totally fine. I never really felt cold. I don't know. Jolene, you can tell me how you felt, but um, yeah, weather's just kind of, I'd say pleasant, but cooler because we're beginning of October. It's a little bit
Yeah.
cooler, but pleasant.
And we'll go over that again too at the month before when everybody's leaving. When we're gonna, a month before the tour leaves, we have a tour party. We'll cover that again. So all the packing and
Yeah.
everything.
And then also with packing, looks like someone asked about how much luggage. So, I make sure that you book a non basic economy flight. Okay, if you buy just a regular economy ticket, it should include one free checked bag. Now, if you have status with your airline that you're booking through, you'll probably get two checked bags, heavier weight checked bags, those types of things, right? That's
Yep.
everybody needs to, figure that out for themselves. But just the normal person booking economy, that's not basic economy, you should get one checked bag up to 50 pounds. And then I would recommend just a small to medium carry-on, maybe a large backpack or small extra rolling suitcase or something like that if you really feel like you need it. Also, it wouldn't be bad to, if you can somehow, I mean, it depends on how much you want to buy and bring back, because that's the big question, right? So if you feel like you're going to shop a lot, bring a lot back,
Yeah.
then maybe, yes, a 22-inch, rolling carry-on as well as a regular sized rolling check bag wouldn't hurt. But you know, that's case by case basis on each individual person. So can't really answer that.
Kind of leads into how much money do the people normally bring. I would just tell people it's as much. If you're a big spender, then bring your credit card. If you're not, I
Yes.
mean, there's not that much that's not covered really, other than food, and drinks. Every once in a while, but and then whatever
Yeah.
you want to buy, like the whiskeys and all that.
Yeah. So there's a few different ways you can go about that. If you are definitely a cash person, then they have ATMs. They'll charge you an ATM fee plus whatever the conversion rate is. Normally, though, if you go straight to a bank ATM, the conversion rate's going to be the best. Same as if you just use a credit card, that conversion rate will be the best. Then if you go to one of those travel exchange places in the airport, don't
Oh
do
yeah,
that,
don't do that.
right? Um, we did find it difficult to find a place that would exchange American dollars. So, um, sorry, I'm looking at the questions here on Facebook.
That's great.
So we found it difficult to find a place that would exchange American dollars because I would not recommend going to an exchange place at an airport. That's just the exchange rate's just going to be horrendous. So don't do that. It would be much better to pay an ATM fee and
Yeah,
get money out of an ATM that way. There are certain ATM banks. I mean, I know like I've got Fidelity. The ATM card that I have with Fidelity refunds all ATM fees. So then that's even a better deal right there. So if you've got a bank like that, check that out. Uh, Credit cards that do not charge a foreign transaction fee. A lot of credit cards that, I mean, there are some without an annual fee that don't charge you a foreign transaction fee, but normally those, no annual fee credit cards will charge you a 2 to 3% transaction fee. So just check with your credit card company. A lot of those travel cards, I love points. So if you're trying to book your flight with points, I'm also happy to help you find the best deal there.
very true.
But like, Chase Sapphire will not charge you a foreign transaction fee. There's a lot of, hotel credit cards, airline credit cards that will not charge you a transaction fee. So again, they took credit card everywhere. It's almost like they prefer credit card. Every restaurant we went to had a handheld little POS system.
Yep.
That's point of sale, not piece of, so yeah, a handheld point of sale system that they just bring to your table, they put in your order, and then you give them a credit card, they put it in, charge you, and they go. They don't even really seem to ask for a tip. I mean, with restaurants, sit down restaurants, I would recommend 10-ish%, right? Um, Depending on the service, 5 to 15%, we'll just say
There you go.
ask them to add it on before they do the
Yeah.
final transaction. Because once they finalize it, they can't add a tip to that. Bars, though, you don't tip bartenders. So if you go and you order a Guinness, they say it's €5, you give them €5 and go drink your Guinness and then go back for your second later. Right. So yeah, so you don't have to tip bartenders. Let's see here. There's going to be a lot of personal tour guides that I would recommend giving, €3 to €5
Yeah.
to walking tour, food tours of Cork, Galway, walking history tour of Dublin, right? Even the tour of Middleton. I mean, the
Yeah.
tour guide was amazing. So, a few euro would be totally fine. They would appreciate that.
Cool.
And they do have a €2 coin, so even just a €2 coin, for some of those smaller tours would just be amazing. I think they'd appreciate that. So that kind of
Cool.
answers the question a little bit on cash. If
Cool.
you're if you're thinking credit card all the way, great. Figure out a way to get a few euros maybe before you leave. Your bank here might bring in euros. And so then bring, I don't know, €100 just for some tip money for some places, and then maybe ATM there later for the bus driver. I'll admit I certainly appreciate tips myself. I'm going to do everything I possibly can to make this an amazing tour for anyone that goes.
Yep.
So I appreciate tips as well, but
Yep.
it's hard to answer that question, how much cash,
Yeah.
because everyone's a little bit different on whether they like credit cards or not, or whether they're all cash or this type of thing. So
Yeah. Great feedback. Okay, so that's the frequently asked questions that I have. We've covered pretty much all of them. Group size, how much money to bring, how much walking, what the weather's like, what to pack. And we can do
Mhm.
more of that too. Dean or Joyce, who are here, do you guys, if you want to type in the chat any questions that you specifically had? And then Derek, I don't know if you've seen any online that we haven't answered.
Yeah, cell phone, that's another good
There
question.
you go.
Verizon charges $10 per day, and then you basically have access to whatever plan you have here. Uh, the only drawback there is I think that's limited on data. So you don't get your full unlimited data, which is kind of, whatever. It's Verizon. All those big cell phone companies like to take advantage of us, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, so you know, depends on your cell phone company, but check with them. Most modern cell phones now have I think it's like a digital SIM card. So it's no longer even just a physical SIM card. So
Yeah.
it'll just connect automatically, and then they'll charge you whatever the plan is to charge you over there. And then you can use your phone without any problems.
Great.
Yeah. Let's see. There's, um,
Somebody asked about single
yes.
versus
Oh, Jolene,
dual.
did you find a credit, sorry, did you find a hotel that would exchange US to euros?
While Jolene's typing in, the other thing too, somebody asked, what about single travelers? If there's a single lady, we can match people up. So if you are single and you want to go and you have a roommate, I would suggest calling us, getting on the list so that we can help keep an eye out and listen for other single travelers. And then if we do find someone that is a single traveler, we will, that wants a roommate, we will exchange your guys' phone numbers and let you know that we did find someone, and then let you guys call each other, and then you can set up a lunch meeting or whatever you need to do to decide if that's going to be a good fit for you. So if you are a single traveler and you would like a roommate, let us know and we will help look for one. It happens actually more often than you think that people are looking for that. So don't be shy. Let us know and we will see what we can do for you.
Okay. Yeah. So Jolene says the George's sister hotel, which is interesting because I asked the front desk at the George if they could exchange, and they told me no. Um, but in college, I worked at some hotels in Grand Forks, and so we were very close to the Canadian border, and we even exchanged Canadian for US. And so I was surprised that they said no to me, but that's good to know. They have a sister hotel called the Savoy there in Limerick. It's a couple blocks, I'd say. They also have some, I think they actually have a fitness center there that we could use by staying at the George. So if you're really looking for some fitness, the Delphi Lodge does not have a fitness center, but they have an amazing hiking trail just outside the lodge. Also, the whole area is pretty wide open, and you can hike around if you're good with that. And then I'll need to check for the Hyatt in Dublin, but I'm sure that they have a fitness center as well. But we didn't stay there last year, so this will be our first time staying at this hotel. So I'm excited for
Yeah, me
that
too.
new experience. It'll be fun.
These trips that we put together, like Derek said, I mean, takes great pride in putting them together. This is not stuff that you're gonna find everywhere. I don't know any tour company that stays at Delphi. And then the hotels like the George and the Hyatt and Dublin are really, really nice. The food tours are all top notch. Everything's private, really. So it's totally worth it when you think about, you get what you pay for. I'd be happy to refer you to any customers that have gone before, guests, and they can give you feedback on their experience as well. So I totally believe these tours and believe in these tours. I mean, I know Derek does. So we would love to have you with us and experience how great this island tour is. And again, it's going to change going forward. So if you like this itinerary, jump on and go because it won't be the same next year. We'll do different stuff in Ireland. So jump on, come with us. It's well worth it. And then become part of our travel tribe and head over to Ireland every once in a while.
Yeah. And last year we did have some people fly out of Kansas City. Looks like Kathy Stone is asking that. So I don't know about this year, but you know, those they just met us, I think, in Chicago,
Yep,
and then we flew to Newark and then to Shannon. So
super easy. Yep.
yeah, pretty easy.
Right. Anybody else? Okay, well, I want to say thank you, Derek, for joining us, spending some time with us this evening. It was great to hear all about it. I'm so excited for you to lead the tour again. For everyone that's joined live either on Facebook or here on the Zoom call, or if you're watching the video later, we are so great that you took the time to listen to us, and we cannot wait to travel with you. Have a great night, everybody. Take care.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.